I moved to Whistler in December of 2014, feeling like I had made the right decision for the first time in a long time. My family was excited to know that I had been in contact with the local pastor of the church here in Whistler, and that I was forming relationships with people inside the church. But God still needed me to fail one more time. I quickly realized in Whistler that it was a party town, and that I was going to have to be very strong-willed to resist all the temptations that I saw. I wasn't ready to let go of alcohol yet. And once again, alcohol took control of my life. Things didn't work out with the store in Whistler, and we ended up parting ways. When I moved to Whistler, I broke my wrists, both of them, after the second month of living here. I found myself with no job, nowhere to live, because my rental unit was a staff accommodation, 2 broken hands, and a big question of what was I doing here. The only people I knew were a couple people in the church who were supporting me and who knew where I was at and who knew my past. And that was a really healthy thing for me to learn to share what I was at. And I knew it was something I needed to do. I knew I needed to let people into my life. But having moved to a new place and having no idea what I was going to do and having no real relationship with God yet, I needed to fall down once more. I had Oxycontins to heal pain in my wrists, and one night I took too many of those, and I woke up the next morning feeling like I may be dead. And I remember waking up and having thoughts of suicide. I remember calling Pastor John and saying, I need you to come see me today. And he came, and I shared that I no longer had a job and that I needed to change my life for God once and for all. January 25th, 2015, my life changed. I gave up drinking. I gave up any form of drug. I gave up women. And the Holy Spirit came into my life and he changed my heart. And years of prayer and years of not knowing, my family finally saw that God did have his hand in my life. It took some major public failings to realize that I wasn't the big shot that I wanted to be. It took years of drug and alcohol abuse, and it took years of failed relationships. It took years of unsuccessful business ventures for me to realize that I'm not the one who's calling the shots. I don't know why God chose that day to be the day, but from that moment on, the desires of my heart changed. I can't say I felt something inside of me present, but I know that my thoughts and my heart had been changed, and I didn't know how that had happened. The next few weeks and months would be a lot of soul searching and a lot of coming alongside our local church and saying, this is where I am. I need Jesus, and will you support me? Will you be there for me? Will you guide me? Will you mentor me? And will you love and care for me? I had finally found a community of people who loved me for who I was and who wanted better for me. And I started saying yes to volunteering in the church, whether it was playing tambourine in the band or setting up chairs or going on a missions trip to India. I just felt always it was a yes. It was a yes. And the walls and the barriers that I had set up in my life just started crashing down, and relationships started to be mended, relationships with family, relationships with friends back home. Just my own personal self-esteem was once lifted again, saying, hey, we can get life back on track. Like we've had some road bumps, but there's great things coming forward. Look where you are. You're in Whistler. Why are you here? And God had an answer for me. There's a purpose that I brought you here. And that purpose was to serve the church and to find God here in Whistler. Just the scenery alone, I started to recognize that, wow, like what a detailed creation, like what an amazing creator. Like this same creator knows who I am. This same creator has seen all the mess that I've had in my life. He knows the deepest, darkest thoughts I've had in my heart, and he says that I'm forgiven from that. And even the memories I had of all the experiences that I have been through, all those dark places, all those faces that I had in my mind, they started to fade away, and I just felt cleansed. I felt the weight off of my entire body was just lifted, and I felt like a new person. I wanted to publicly affirm my faith through baptism. I had just returned from a missions trip to India, a changed guy, and he had awoken me there to seeing a new level of joy, a new level of just gratitude for life that the people there had, even though they had so little. I think just through that selfless serving, that going low that Jesus always did, and that example that he set, I could really see that lived out amongst a third world country, and to have that opportunity to travel to a place like that and to see people risking their lives and giving of their lives for Jesus was something I just was amazed by. And it set aflame my heart to want to serve God. When I returned from that trip, I wanted to take a step in baptism. I was baptized 2 weeks from returning home. My parents flew from Manitoba to see it, and it was just an amazing time for us as a family to be together and to share in the victory that Jesus had won, and that I would never be going back to that person I was. I quickly realized that life as a Christian wasn't going to be boring. It wasn't just going to be a bunch of rules. It was actually going to be a lifestyle. And because I had experienced so much change in my heart, I knew that it could happen for someone else. I knew of the dark places and the pain and the hurt that I had been through and that I had caused on other people. I knew that had been washed clean, and so I know that that's possible for other people. I think God's grace can be even more realized when you come out of those things and you really experience that change. I'll never fully understand why God brought me through some of those life experiences and some of those trials that I needed to go through. But if part of the reason why is so that I could better understand his grace and his love, then I count it all gain. It was all worth it. As rough and as horrible as sometimes the things that I did or was a part of was, because of the change that he's done in my heart, I know of his grace and how deep that goes, and I just want more of it, and I want other people to experience it.